Hello everyone and welcome to another video about the 2022 season. Today we're going to look at the top 10 ranking of the UCI rider ranking overall, showing how riders have achieved this year. And before we start, make sure to check out our website www.thecyclingdane.com in the description down below for a lot more good stuff, including the 2022 transfers. Nevertheless, coming in at number 10, Alejandro Valverde. Valverde is the first rider on our list and incidentally also a former number one in the past on the UCI season rider ranking. 2022 has been touted as his final year as a pro, despite his form picking up in late season. In the early part of the season, he managed to win one of the Mallorca Challenge races, and he went on to win the overall at the 2.1 Spanish race Gran Camino. And in his first World Tour race of the season in Strade Bianche, he was the strongest rider behind the imperious Tadej Pogačar, picking up second at the race. And he even showed good form in two races he's dominated in the past, Flèche-Wallonne and Liège-Bastogne-Liège. In Flèche, he managed to finish second behind Dylan Teuns, and in Liège-Bastogne-Liège he was 7th. In his final season, Valverde had 2 Grand Tours on the cards, tallying up his overall Grand Tour total to 32 in his career. In the Giro d'Italia, he finished 11th overall with several top 10 finishes on stages, and in La Vuelta a España, he was 13th overall, which was not a bad outing at all. And Valverde even managed to finish off the season with some strong results in the Italian one-day races, finishing 2nd in the Coppa Agustin and 4th in the Giro d'Emilia, and even 6th in his final monument, Il Lombardia. So not a bad showing from the veteran. Coming in at number 9, we have Mathieu van der Poel. 9th on the list is the highest ranked pro-continental rider again, Mathieu van der Poel, who this year did 2 Grand Tours in one season for the first time, but he vowed that he would never do it again. However, his crowning moments of 2022 was perhaps the win in the Tour of Flanders, absolutely incredible, going toe-to-toe with another rider on this list, along with his imperious win in the Dwars du Flandern, and he even managed to win the first stage in the Giro d'Italia, out-sprinting Biniam Girmay. Further to this, Mathieu van der Poel was 3rd in Milan-San Remo, 4th in the Amstel Gold Race, and 9th in Paris-Roubaix. So a very good season for him, but unfortunately it might be overshadowed about the freak incident that happened at the World Championships in Australia, and Mathieu van der Poel would definitely be in contention, we think. Moving on to number 8, and here we have Alexander Kristoff, who may have only ridden for Intermarché Groupe Gobert for one season, but he definitely made it count. Early in the season, he won the Classica di Almeria, and he finished 3rd in the Milano-Torino, and his heroic move in Scheldeprijs with a solo attack in the final few throws of the race was definitely a highlight. He even managed to get a number of podium places in minor one-day races, plus a stage win in the Deutschland Tour, and also his home stage race of Tour of Norway, where he won his home stage. He even managed to show a strong performance at the World Championships, finishing 6th, so not a bad season for Kristoff, who's heading to Uno X next year. Coming in at number 7, we have Stefan Kung. Stefan Kung, the time trial and classic specialist, had on paper his best year as a rider. In the early season, he managed to get some top 10s in Paris-Nice, but in the classics season is where he really imposed himself. 3rd in the Saxo Bank Classics, 6th in Dwars du Flandern, 5th in the Tour of Flanders, 8th in Amstel Gold before the highlight of the season perhaps, 3rd in the Hell of the North, Paris-Roubaix. Stefan Kung even had a strong Tour de Suisse, which meant he finished 5th overall after finishing 3rd on the final time trial stage in Vaduz, which is Liechtenstein, not Switzerland. In the Tour de France this year, he was unfortunate not to challenge for the time trial stage glory, but he did manage to finish painfully close to winning the European time trial title once again, this time being defeated by his fellow Swiss Stefan Biesinger by a minuscule margin. Kung also added only his 2nd stage race victory to his palmarès at the Tour de Poitou after winning the time trial stage on stage 4, and at the World Championships he came agonizingly close once again to winning the gold, missing out this time to Tobias Foss of Norway, but it was his highest position in a World Championships in the time trial. Kung would, however, get his revenge this year in the Chrono des Nations and beat Tobias Foss on this occasion, and he also won the event back in 2021. So not a bad season for the Swiss rider, who had his best season to date. Coming in at number 6, we have Arnaud Dely. Arnaud Delis is in his neo-pro season, so him breaking into the top 10 is absolutely incredible, and he's been the backbone of this struggling Lotto Soudal team. The youngster has had an impressive winning total of 9 pro wins and a myriad of podium positions. His wins include the Ronde van Limburg and the Johan Museeuw Classic. The list is long, and he has really shown himself as one of the top sprinters for the future and will definitely be developing over the next few years. Just a shame he may not be on the World Tour next year, but I'm sure that might not be the case. Coming in at number 5, we have Alexander Vlasov. Vlasov is our 5th rider on the UCI rider ranking, quite fitting as his Tour de France position was 5th overall as well, but more about that later. Vlasov was a new addition to the Bora Hansgrohe squad for 2022, and he certainly made an impact in his first stage race for them. This stage race was the Tour of Valencia, and after wrestling control of the race from Remco Evenepoel on the gravel stage on stage 3, Vlasov claimed the overall and took his first stage race of the season. Vlasov continued his good form by finishing 4th in the UAE Tour, and later he was 2nd in the Miguel Indurain one-day race. Sticking with Spain in the Tour de Basque Country, Vlasov was well in contention despite an unlucky episode with Jonas Vingegaard. However, the Russian managed to finish 3rd overall, which was a very good result from him. Vlasov even dipped his toes into the classics for 2 races, finishing 3rd behind Dylan Teuns and Alejandro Valverde at the Flèche Wallonne, and was 14th at Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Vlasov won his 2nd ever career stage race in the form of the Tour of Romandy after winning the final time trial, which was an exceptional performance, and he replicated his countryman Ilno Sakharin, who has also won the Tour of Romandy. At the Tour de France, Vlasov was certainly unlucky in the first week with a crash in the Longwy stage. However, he was determined to battle on and managed with a strong final week to climb himself into the top 5, which was truly a great performance and arguably his best result of the year. Moving in to number 4, we have Jonas Vingegaard. At number 4, we have the current Tour de France champion Jonas Vingegaard, and incidentally, this means that he's the lowest placed Tour de France winner since Egan Bernal in 2019 to finish on a UCI rider ranking. However, the 2022 season started with something different in the air. Vingegaard had just finished 2nd in the Tour de France last year, but he was still in the shadow of Primoz Roglic somewhat. Nevertheless, Vingegaard went on to win his first one-day race in the form of the Drôme Classic after some cooperation with Juan Ayuso, and he was strong at the Tirreno Adriatico, but it didn't look like he was going to be able to rival Tadej Pogačar, who's just sailing away with the victory. The Tour of Basque Country was not as heroic as the previous edition, as he only finished 6th overall despite being in the mix for a number of stages. At the Criterium du Dauphiné, he was showing his climbing abilities once again, working for Primoz Roglic, and even finished the final stage hand in hand with the Slovenian star, and he managed to win the stage and finish 2nd to his teammate. At the Tour de France, it was not known who was the actual leader, as it seemed like they were splitting the role, or sharing it, shall I say. Despite some comical team maneuvers on the cobblestone stage, Vingegaard managed to keep himself inside the top 10. After the Longwy and La Super Planche stages, it seemed like 2nd was on the cards once again behind Tadej Pogačar. However, Vingegaard, with the help of Roglic, managed to crack Tadej Pogačar on stage 11, finishing on the Col de Granon, and solidified his win on the Hautacam, and even looked like he was almost going to win the final time trial. Simply remarkable. With all the celebrations and the thrust into superstardom, Jonas Vingegaard had an extended break from cycling before resuming duties at the Crow race, winning on stage 3 and stage 5, but ultimately missing out on the overall. And the final test, Il Lombardia, he only finished 16th overall. However, it was still a fantastic year for the Dane, and 2023 should be exciting and truly amazing. Remco Evenepoel is our 3rd rider on the list. The fantastic 22-year-old has had his best year to date, winning the Vuelta al Algarve once again overall. A bit of a learning curve at both Tirreno Adriatico and Tour of the Basque Country for the youngster. However, the Belgian superstar managed to win his first monument in the form of Liège-Bastogne-Liège with a perfectly timed attack, and he even went on to dominate the Tour of Norway, winning 3 stages in the process, thereby needing only to win the Tour of Sweden to complete his collection of national tours of Scandinavia, as he won the Tour of Denmark last year. But enough Scandinavian rambling for one video. Remco Evenepoel managed to win the final stage of the Tour de Suisse, which was a time trial stage, and he also repeated his victory at the Clásica San Sebastian with another perfectly timed attack. His Spanish success didn't stop there, as in the Vuelta a España, his second ever Grand Tour, he became the first Belgian winner of the race since Freddie Maertens in 1977, and he did so by winning the time trial on stage 10 and, crucially, also the mountain stage on stage 18. But Remco was not done there, as he went to the World Championships in Australia. First, he managed to finish third in the time trial event, and he also managed to, with some clever teamwork with Wout van Aert, get himself up the road. Before long, he dispatched his only breakaway companion, Alexei Lysenko, to ride away to claim another World Championship title, but this time in the elite category, to add to his titles from the World Championships in Innsbruck in the junior category. Simply astonishing. Sticking with Belgium in second place, and the highest placed Jumbo-Visma rider, no, it's not Roglic and not Jonas Vingegaard, it is Wout van Aert. Wout van Aert on paper has had a marginally better season in 2022 than 2021. He started the year by winning Omloop Het Nieuwsblad before being part of the Jumbo-Visma dominance at Paris-Nice, finishing inside the top 3 on the first 4 stages and winning the 4th stage, which was a time trial to take the yellow jersey. He helped Roglic on the final stage to neutralize the GC attack by Simon Yates, and he won the green jersey as well. In the classics, Wout finished 8th in a dramatic Milan-San Remo. He won the E3 Saxo Bank Classic with the help of Laporte, and he was frustratingly 2nd in Paris-Roubaix and 3rd in Liège-Bastogne-Liège, finishing 2nd in the sprint to Quinten Hermans behind Remco's win. At the Criterium du Dauphiné, it was almost a copy and paste from the Paris-Nice performance, as he won the green jersey once again, and he won on stage 1 and stage 5, finishing inside the top 2 on 4 out of the 8 stages. For the Tour de France at the Grand Depart in Denmark, Wout was 2nd on every single stage in Denmark. The time trial in Copenhagen, stage 2 he was 2nd to Jacobsen, and on stage 3 he was 2nd to Groenewegen. Seemingly fed up with 2nd place, Wout van Aert attacked on stage 4 to Calais, winning the stage and wearing the yellow jersey of another French stage race in the season. He went on to win stage 8, and on top of that also winning the final time trial on stage 20. But most impressive thing was his green jersey campaign that was an absolutely dominance from almost start to finish, and the fact that he was so dominant in the green jersey also gave us the incredible image of him helping Jonas Vingegaard in the green jersey, helping the yellow jersey to try and drop the white jersey on the Haut to Come, and that was certainly an iconic image that will stick for the ages. Wout van Aert was not done there, as he managed to finish 2nd in the BMR Classic. He won the Brittany Classic, and he finished 4th in the GP Quebec, and he was 2nd in GP Montreal before unfortunately only finishing 4th at the World Championships. But a super season from the man from Hertals. First on our list for a 2nd year in a row is Tadej Pogačar, who has been sensational this year in the World Tour races despite not winning the Tour de France again. Tadej Pogačar started the year in almost the same fashion as 2021, as he managed to win the UAE Tour overall, and this time winning on both Jabal Hajiz and Jabal Hafid. Pogačar then shocked the cycling world by dominating the Strade Bianche and winning the semi-classic for the first time in his career, and then went on to regain another 2021 achievement by winning the Tirreno Adriatico stage race in more dominant fashion in a field that included Jonas Vingegaard and Remco Evenepoel. Pogačar then challenged the favourites at Milan-San Remo, finishing 5th overall, and Pogačar even ventured into the cobblestone terrain, finishing 10th at Dwars de Vlaanderen, but at the Tour of Flanders he almost shocked the world once again, as he was able to go toe-to-toe with Mathieu van der Poel and only losing out on the podium in the final sprint after getting boxed in. Pogačar's Tour de France preparations again included the Tour of Slovenia, and once again he was so dominant, and he even settled a stage win with a rock paper scissors contest with Rafa Majka at the end. He also showed some incredible power on the final stage with an outright power sprint duel with Matej Mohoric for the victory, but coming out on top ultimately. The Tour de France, as mentioned, went to Jonas Vingegaard. However, Pogačar was a defiant champion despite losing plenty of his teammates throughout the race, and he did manage to win the white jersey once again, on top of that winning 3 stages again, meaning he still has an average of 3 stage wins per Tour de France. His season was not quite finished, as he went on to win the GP Montreal and also finished second in the Giro d'Emilia before winning both the Trevali Vercin and also defending his monument Il Lombardia. So a very complete year for Tadej Pogačar, replicating plenty of his 2021 achievements and improving overall as a one-day rider. So that's it for our top 10 UCI ranking video this year. Make sure to comment down below if there's any rider that you think should have been there. Well, the numbers don't lie, but Biniam Girmay shocked me that he wasn't in here. And make sure to check out our last year's video as well as our top 10 transfer video of this season if you haven't already. So leave a like to help the video and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to keep up to date with all our videos. And of course, as always, thank you for watching and have a nice day.